We now move on to our next presenter. As you may have heard, usage of social media platforms such as Twitter is now being utilized widely for teaching and learning. But how is this Twitter platform being utilized? We have a very good example from Yuzainy Janin from FPEP. And the topic of this presentation is Twitter as the main communication medium in teaching and learning of a faculty core course. So I invite Yuzainy to let us all know how he uses Twitter for teaching and learning.
Okay, very good morning and thank you very much to our moderator, Associate Professor Dr. Kenneth. Okay, good morning, Assalamualaikum and good morning to Prof. Rashid, Deputy Vice Chancellor in Academic and International, Prof. Fong, Director of E-Learning, and all my fellow colleagues here. All right, my name is Yuzainy. I'll be sharing to you today related to what I do in my course. Okay, hopefully, can you see this? I just want some confirmation. Can you view this? Okay. I have a presentation here. So, is it viewable?
Yes, we can see.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. This is my habit because online right now sometimes I need some assurance that it can be viewed. All right. Okay. I'm from the Faculty of Business, Economics, and Accountancy, and Twitter has been my main communication medium for the past before the pandemic. Since 2019, I began using Twitter as my main communication, as opposed to Telegram, as opposed to WhatsApp. Later, I'm going to share why I use Twitter. Right. So just a little bit of information about Twitter for those of you. I think most of us know what Twitter is, but for those who are still new, it's a microblogging and social networking service. Okay, where you send tweets. Created back in 2016 by a group of friends. Okay, led by Jack Dorsey, and as of 2017, they have increased their character limit. That's the beauty of Twitter. I think it makes me to think really concise what I need to convey because of the limitation of character. So tidak boleh melarat-larat lah sometimes the announcement. Okay, and then this Twitter is available widely in web-based browser, and then on mobile phone. I think a lot of mobile phone comes with this Android and also iOS. So it's really accessible. All right, this is just this is what I've this is as of last week. Actually, this is just to share this. This is nothing got to do with my this presentation. It's just the first Twitter that was tweeted back in 2006 was auctioned for 2.9 million pound to a Malaysian businessman. So I guess it comes to this age where things are very valuable now. This is the first Twitter, just setting up my Twitter. So this actually the value, it was 2.1 million pound actually, right? So it's by a Malaysian based, bought by a Malaysian based businessman. So that is just some up-to-date information what happening with Twitter now. All right, I'm going to show now some statistic. This is not statistic, a boring type of statistic. It's just to show us, to give you context of how vast the Twitter world is. So the leading country here, this is a leading country based on number of Twitter as of 2019 by Statista. Okay, Malaysia is in the list, but it's in the 21st. We are in the 20th country, if I'm not mistaken. So other countries, there's a lot of Twitter user account from US, obviously Japan, India, and Indonesia as well. And then to give some context in terms of Twitter use in universities, it has been widely associated with prominent universities throughout the world, like in US, South America, Indonesia, and I think the list goes down then. And I think ours in Malaysia, UMS, we do have our Twitter as well, but yeah, maybe it's not Yeah, because this is the numbers of followers ranked by the number of followers. So that is Twitter in education. And then just to give some idea about what's going on Twitter in Malaysia. So this is a statistic from a source that I've got related to who's the highest numbers of followers in Malaysia. Not many, but it's a combination of politicians, of celebrities that you know, or that, you know, Asia, Astro, former Prime Minister, and then KJ, Khairul Jamaluddin, Yuna. So there's a mixture here, the Twitter user, the numbers in terms of numbers of followers. So that is a context related to Twitter. So I go back to the presentation here. Okay, some if you are new to Twitter, these are some of the jargon. Normally, people would expect you to know if you are on Twitter, like tweet, retweet, direct message, DM, followers, hashtag. They use this a lot in other social media as well, Instagram and also Facebook. And also the like, before it was favorite, but they already recently changed it into like. And also thread. Thread is a series of continuation of messages. So if you want to convey more information, you put it as a thread. So sometimes one tweet is not enough, so you do some subsequent tweet, which is called as thread. So these are just jargon. And then to address this Twitter data issue, whether people would think about whether it's consuming data or not. So some third-party information that I've got, but basically it revolves around what we download. What we download over Twitter, whether it is images or video. So like 5 minutes on Twitter, it consumes 30 megabyte of data. But I guess that would actually just require you downloading some images. But if you are just searching for to access information, text information, I think it will be much more lower than this. This is just a general guideline. And then, of course, I tell my students before they go into Twitter or any other platform that I use, I said try to control. You can control your data usage by setting the data saver mode on Twitter. And also in our Android and iOS devices, I think we all have the option to toggle the data where you can you can actually choose that setting yourself to limit the data, to limit the type of video quality that feeds into your phone or devices. So that is just to show on data. And then, of course, in terms of the provider, because since a lot of my students, our students, some of them are using prepaid. So I just want to show that some options on prepaid, they comes with free usage for social media, social networking, which also include Twitter. Like this is Hotlink, Maxis Hotlink. So they have free internet usage for Twitter. And also this one, it's a U-Mobile. They have unlimited social for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So basically, Twitter always usually is associated with the Facebook, Instagram when they are making these packages. So it saves data in that case. Okay, this is my reason actually. My main reason of using Twitter. First, it's a dedicated venue. I do not want to have a student to message me over WhatsApp because I think WhatsApp it's a mixture of various different contexts of mine. So I dedicate this Twitter just for a specific course like BT22103. So I can search any context or any sharing that I want to do. It will based on that particular Twitter account. Later I'm going to show, and there's no number phone association, means that unlike WhatsApp, for example, you need to associate it with your phone number, but Twitter does not do that. And then this one is I love this one. It's having the ability to get push notification if the student answer. If I get direct messages, we have option to set this. And of course, to the sideline, this is where I get my news. Haven't bought newspaper for the past 10 years, I think. So having news to my fingertips, it's actually a very convenient thing to me. So this is actually, other than other than using Twitter as educational. It's my main source to all the news and sometimes entertainment as well. So that is my reason. Okay, this is going back to our purpose here. I'll treat this, it's much more of a show and tell with all of you here. I'm teaching the course of BT 22103, Business Information System. It's one of the faculty course subject in our faculty of Business, Economic and Accountancy, okay, FPEP. And then I've been teaching this subject for the past 4 semesters. This is this semester coming to my fourth semester. I started using this Twitter even before the pandemic back in 2019. So normally the characteristic of this students within this, it is from various, in our faculty, we have 10 programs. So all of them will take this in alternate semester. Okay, not all program will take this in one semester because this subject is being offered every semester. So these are my students, at least those who follow me. But normally the numbers of students enroll in this subject first semester around this figure. 563 was the highest one, but normally it is within the range of 400 plus. So I'm teaching this subject alone. There's 2 sections, but both section I do this alone. I'm not sharing this subject with others. So that is just some context about the followers context. Okay, to give you some context. Okay, this is I'm going to show also a short live preview of one of the account of my Twitter account, what I use it for. I was thinking of pasting it, copying it over the PowerPoint, but I think it's much more convenient for me to show it here. Okay, this is one of my Twitter back in 2019. So this is how I use it. Normally, I will tweet. Okay, this is normally if I were to. It's not just for me. This Twitter is not just more on announcement, but it's much more of I look at it. It's much more as motivating students, having connection with them through these tweets that I post. And some of the things that I post here are funny stuff. I intentionally make them, alert of that. And then some of the things that I tweet may be related to that subject because I've been following as well other resources that I think it will be useful for them. So I retweet it to those followers of mine, okay, the student particularly. So this is other purpose of Twitter that I use when we have that physical class back in 2019. If somebody left their bottle here, I make announcement. Okay, somebody forgot the bottle, and then the person come back, and then so that's actually like more of a service, community service. Okay. Other than that, there are a lot of other sharing that I do related to what I posted over at Smart3. Of course, Smart3 is my main platform. So sometimes when I post something on Smart3, I will announce it on Twitter. So they will get informed as well. So it's that announcement part of it. And then some of them, this is just a community service reminder when they have class. I do remind them if you have a lecture, try to don't put your rubbish there. So it is sort of like a routine of mine. Some of the thing like class cancellation, in a way, it's much more funny, so they will be much more engaged. So this is where I post like photo on their group approval, post it here, so they will get first-hand information rather have to log in to check about it. And then sometimes I will just post as a motivator for them. I will post a photo, share their photo. Like this one, this is an example of they are interviewing an owner, a cafe owner in Gaya Street, because for their assessment they have to do a website, a premium website. So this is how they share it here. So it makes them much more appreciated, I think, and then makes other friend of theirs much more challenged, okay, because their friend have done that. So this is amongst other, like this one, they did a website for Western River Cruise. So they went there and then they tweeted what they like. So all this actually for me, it is just not just announcement. It's much more of motivating student in a way. and then it makes them much more connected. Okay, so the list goes on like this. So I'm not going to preview all. All right, so that's what I've do on Twitter. Of course, there are direct messages as well. I do direct message. All messages related to the subject, I will ask them to direct message me on Twitter, so it's easy for me to check one by one the messages whether it is I already responded or not. And then this is to share a survey. I did a survey last semester. So to ask the students of mine, there are 257, 75 responded. So most of them, they don't have Twitter before. They just registered this Twitter back in 2020. That was during the MCO, and most of them haven't, almost half, registered back in 2020. So I mean, I think the message came across, at least they are able to be aware of Twitter. And then this is the frequency where they do access Twitter. So this is just, they are doing it daily maybe. And then prior enrolling to my subject, they never use Twitter. Some of them never use Twitter. Some of them use Twitter before for learning purpose. So that's good in terms of the generation. It is expected. And then some of them did, a lot of them, not many, but half have reached out to me on a direct message. For me, when I have dedicated platform like Twitter, the messages I can entertain one by one because it is not like WhatsApp, right? Because you have a dedicated view of this. And a lot of them say that it's easy to use. Of course, their generation really comprehensible with all this IT. And then it is easy to be informed about any announcement on Twitter. So they mostly agree about that. Communicating with the lecturer is easier on Twitter. So thankful that they agree with that. But communicating with classmates, courses, friends is easier. So some of them have mixed feeling about this. Maybe some of the friends are not really Twitter fans, so they don't really go. They still go for WhatsApp and also all the other alternative messaging. And so this is in between them. They are not really communicating using Twitter. And then this is for motivation. Some of them do say that it increases their motivation towards the learning process. And this is important for me, building a sense of community for the student. Because if you are in one group, in one Twitter, that is one of my intention. Because some of them, they tweeted, they ask question, and then I found that there are other friends who knows about it, they will respond it. So there is an element of peer learning there in terms of that. And then, of course, in our subject, this subject is on digital, so it helps to increase their digital literacy skill as well. So most of them, they are more than half. They will be continuing using Twitter after the class ends. So that's hopefully, if it is true, that's an achievement for me. At least if the continuation is still there. And then lastly, related to this, to my conclusion and all this, like I said, I've been teaching this for the subjects, and then I've been using Twitter for the past 4 semesters, coming to the 4th semester. And this is an example of, this is an extract of reflection, anonymous reflection, because every semester I will ask them to anonymously to complain or anything on whatever it is. But I try to find, I use a word function find to see who else actually tweeted on Twitter. So some of them, some of the tweeted that I read here, it makes my heart not melt, but it makes it, at least they are appreciative on Twitter, and then they highlighted that the Twitter, the intention that I want to make out of using Twitter is there. So when they comment like giving us information, a lot of information there. So all these are related to Twitter. So for me, when the students have, in their reflection, they mention about Twitter, they're saying that Twitter has somehow benefited them, and then they have, not life-changing, but at least they are able to say that their knowledge has increased in terms of Twitter. That's fine. So in terms of Twitter, I think it is not just limited towards large number of classes, like 400 or 500, or maybe PPIB just now, maybe thousands. But it also actually, can be used for small numbers actually, because it is in this MCO time. It is actually, I think, much more convenient if it is in a small number. Maybe it is much more interactive in a way, because the numbers is much more smaller, right? So I do encourage our friend here. Maybe this is one of the option or platform that can be used to connect to the student, because in terms of, as far as international is concerned, they also don't have any problem accessing this Twitter. Of course, some of them have to use VPN to access some of the services, but international student also responding in this Twitter well also. So with that, I end my sharing session here. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any question.
Thank you very much, Yuzainy. Thank you for your presentation. You have highlighted what we call the connectivist model, and that's becoming increasingly relevant in today's the PKP and EMCO time, in which you have multiple streams of network information coming together. So you have highlighted the connectivist model in online education. So thank you very much for your presentation, and it's very encouraging because we also can adapt and learn from you. So I would like to invite questions from the audience, from our colleagues. Please post your question in the chat window, or you can turn on your mic and address the question directly to Mr. Yuzainy. Any questions there in the chat? You can turn on your microphone as well and post a question or speak into the microphone.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, please proceed.
Dr. Yuzainy, I'm Madrin from FSSK.
Yes.
So in FPEP, how the using Twitters by other lecturers? You have find some lecturers using the Twitter in your faculty? Thank you.
Currently, I'm not aware of our other friends in FPEP are using this. Maybe some of them do, but I'm not sure. I can't really, I don't know about it. But as far as I know, I'm not aware. I'm not aware of any of our lecturers doing it. Maybe some who are here, maybe colleagues of mine from FPEP, maybe they have been using Twitter. I'm not sure. Yeah. So that's what I can say. But I do encourage that it can be pursued in the future.
Answering that,
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Yuzainy. Do we have any other questions? Yeah,
Yes.
Prof.
Okay, Encik Janin, terima kasih. Very motivating story concerning the way you apply simple technology Twitter. And I like the way that, you get your students connected, motivated, and this thing you call as a community, where there is a peer, mutual learning taking place. Can you tell us a little bit more concerning this community peer learning taking place? Because you will not be able to respond to everyone, but somehow the student, the members within the community are mutually taking care of one another. Can you just clarify a little bit concerning that? Very good.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pong. Related to this peer, this is my observation. It actually developed organically, I might say, because I didn't ask them to answer for me, but sometimes when they ask certain questions, and some of the friends are proactive enough to answer that. But starting this semester, I'm highly pursuing into this peer thing in my tutorial, because in this subject, currently ongoing in this ongoing semester, we have around 10 tutorial courses. I'm assisted with two tutors. So in this tutorial of ours, we are using Telegram platform. So in this Telegram platform, where I've briefed them to encourage this sense of peer peer learning, peer teaching each other. So not expecting the answer would be directly from me. I said I have made a video briefing to all the students for this semester. Hopefully it will be realized lah for this semester this peer learning. So sometimes it's good for them to teach each other, right? So that's my intention for this. That is what we are going to do this semester via Telegram.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Fong, and thank you, Mr. Yuzainy. Thank you for your presentation. We now move on.